We don't just need to be on alert for false Christs or when the true Antichrist will come into power. We need to be watchful for the spirit of Antichrist, which is absolutely at work in the world today. Someone who is operating in this spirit and continues to spread Antichrist ideas is Yuval Noah Harari. We'll look at his recent false statements about Jesus and the Bible, as well as another world leader and his anti-human beliefs and how these are rooted in the spirit of Antichrist.
If you rewind the movie of history and press play, and you rewind and press play 100 times, I think Christianity would take over the Roman Empire in the world maybe twice out of 100 times. So what is the most common portrait in the world? What is the most famous face in the history of humanity? It is the face of Jesus. And fully 100% of them are fictional.
For many deceivers have gone out into the world, those who do not acknowledge Jesus Christ as coming in the flesh. This is the deceiver and the Antichrist. On a recent interview with Wired, with the thumbnail saying information is not the truth, within the first 2 minutes of the video, Yuval Noah Harari attacks the truth of Jesus and in another recent interview, you can tell this is the type of ideology that he's trying to spread. Real truth, like science, is often rejected by the masses, while fictions, like the Bible, according to him, are easily believed.
So in this competition between the truth, which is costly and complicated and sometimes painful, and fiction, which is cheap and simple and you can make it very attractive, fiction tends to win. And if you look at, the large-scale systems, networks in history, they are often built on fictions, not on the truth.
There was a time in history when certain scientific ideas were persecuted, but Yuval seems to look at Christianity through the eyes of the Western world of today. Christian persecution worldwide is at near genocide levels and only increasing. Almost every early church member spreading the gospel of Jesus died a torturous death. The world repays no evil for rejecting Jesus, but it will cost you your soul. The world's reaction to following Jesus is no fictional fairy tale like Yuval is proposing. If the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love its own. Yet because you are not of the world, but I chose you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. As followers of Jesus, we do not live for what the world can offer us. We have eternity in mind, and we know that if we follow him, we will always have the ultimate victory. For I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. In the past, Yuval used to attack Christianity much more head-on.
I mean, all this story about Jesus rising from the dead and being the Son of God, this is fake news.
And I think that fake news have been with us for thousands of years. Just think of the Bible.
Now it appears as if he's really focusing on trying to undermine it as a story of fiction, making it seem silly and childish to believe what it says. In doing this, he's fulfilling these next two Bible prophecies about the spirit of Antichrist. Children, it is the last hour, and just as you heard that Antichrist is coming, even now many Antichrists have appeared. From this we know that it is the last hour. And every spirit that does not confess that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have heard was coming and is now already in the world.
So what is the most common portrait in the world? What is the most famous face in the history of humanity? It is the face of Jesus. I mean, there are more portraits of Jesus than of any other person in the history of the world. Billions and billions produced over centuries in cathedrals and churches and homes, and fully 100% of them are fictional. There is not a single authentic, truthful portrait of Jesus anywhere.
We have no portrait of him from his own lifetime. The Bible doesn't say a single word about how he looked like. There is not a single word in the Bible whether Jesus was tall or short, dark hair or blonde or bald, nothing. All the images, and it's one of the most famous faces in history, it all comes from the human imagination. And it's still very successful in inspiring people and uniting people. Could be for good purposes, charity and building hospitals and helping the poor, but could also be for bad purposes, crusades, persecutions, inquisitions. But either way, the immense power of a fictional image to unite people.
We may not have a self-portrait of Jesus from his disciples or people who were close to him, but to say that the image that is commonly used to depict Jesus is fictional, in my opinion, is false when you look at all of the evidence. First, we know that the prophet Isaiah prophesied as to how Jesus would look. He has no form or comeliness, and when we see him, there's no beauty that we should desire him. Jesus was a common-looking man from the nation of Israel 2,000 years ago. There are quite a lot of paintings of Jesus, all within a few hundred years of him being on the earth. The same way we believe in pictures or statues of other historical figures, you can assume that the depictions of Jesus from close to when he lived is somewhat how he looked. False claims online say that the image of Jesus is depicted after Cesare Borgia. Cesare didn't even live until the late 1400s, and as we just saw, depictions of Jesus that look like a lot from around the 1400s date way back before that time. There are also supernatural reasons to believe why this common depiction of Jesus is similar to how he really looks. There are thousands and thousands of testimonies of people who claim they encountered Jesus in a dream or in a vision. This is reported to be happening even now across the Middle East in huge numbers. Almost all these testimonies share a similarity in how Jesus looks. Also, interestingly enough, if you believe the Shroud of Turin to be the true burial shroud of Jesus Christ, AI image software recently created a face based off the image on the shroud, and it looks very similar to the image we all know that's used to depict Jesus.
Inspired a new artificial intelligence image of Jesus. This image, based on the face of Jesus in the shroud, has gone viral across social media networks and matches traditional depictions.
We can't say for certain that this is how Jesus looked, but looking at the historical evidence as well as the testimonial evidence, to say that this depiction is completely fictional, I would say is an unfair assessment. But this is what Yuval is currently making a very clear point to mention at every opportunity he gets, discrediting Christianity as a complete work of fiction.
There is no materialistic law. People will always believe this. No. History is full of accidents. How did Christianity become the most successful religion in the world? We can't explain it.
So
Why this story about Jesus of Nazareth and not, the Roman Empire in the 3rd century CE was a bit like, California today. Like so many sects and subsects and gurus and religions, like everybody has their own thing.
yeah.
And you have, thousands of different stories competing. Why did Christianity come up on top? As a historian, I don't have a kind of clear answer. You can read the sources and you see how it happened. Oh, this happened, and then this happened, and then Constantine adopted it, and then this, and then this. But why? I don't think anybody has an answer to that.
Yuval marvels at the fact that Christianity spread as it did after explaining there were hundreds of other gods and those ones didn't stick around. Well, there's good reason for that. For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Creation itself proves God is real, just like no one can explain the Big Bang, how it started, why there's so much water on the earth, or how humans are who they are when everything before us was just animals and there's no missing link. Yes, we are saved by our faith, but when you put your faith and trust in Jesus, you can see his miraculous hand at work all over your life. You can find countless testimonies online of Jesus healing people, ending addictions, healing relationships. You don't find this with Buddha, Muhammad, or any of the other fictional gods from the past. Jesus is still at work in the world today. He is real, and his transformative power is visible in people's lives. That's why if you played history back 100 times, 100 more times, Christianity would have spread the exact same way. The spirit of Antichrist is obviously anti-Jesus, but it's also anti-human. Jesus was very focused on helping those in need. So what we see from the new WEF chairman, Peter Brabeck-Lamoth, I would say is rooted in the spirit of Antichrist.
Well, we are using in the United States about 400 liters per day. So this 380 liters of water, I don't think this is human right, and this should have a price. Why? Because if we do not put a price, we will not make the investments which are necessary in order to use the most precious of the resources that we have in a more responsible manner.
The notion of controlling fresh water use is shared by others at the WEF as well, and it would most likely affect poorer communities the most.
And now we need to put the economics of water, not only in terms of monetary values, but also in terms of governance, in terms of recognizing water as a commons that we now need to manage as a broad systems approach. So that's why this commission is not only necessary, but urgent to take this challenge on. You know, not only have we not focused on economics of water, when we have focused on water, we've only focused on drinking water, domestic water, and that is roughly 150 liters per person per day, which is what the wealthy are using. It's a review on the economics of water, and we will be looking at the value of water and considering different novel economic policy measures, of which one may be, for example, putting some form of price on water in order to guide and give incentives, but not as a price to punish those who are poor, but rather to reward those that are stewards of fresh water for the common good. So this is quite an exciting.
Jesus said to take care of the least of these. The WEF is saying to take the little they have away from them. I would say that is definitely an anti-Christ spirit. By this you know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is from God, and every spirit that does not confess Jesus is not from God. This is the spirit of the Antichrist, of which you have heard is coming, and now is already in the world. Deniers of the Lord Jesus have come and gone, and they will continue to until he returns again. Another reason we can know Jesus is the truth is because he acted and taught so contrary to human nature, like what he told us to do to those who are our enemies. And that's why what I do for Yuval and Peter is pray that they will have an encounter with Jesus similar to Paul and Nebuchadnezzar, and that they will turn from their wicked ways to the one true God. But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you. May both these men and anyone else operating in the spirit of Antichrist turn from their ways and drink from the water that Jesus gives and find everlasting life for their souls, and share the good news of the saving gospel of Jesus Christ to the whole world. But whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst, but the water that I shall give him will become in him a fountain of water springing up into everlasting life.